Hey everyone, thanks for spending some time with me today. In this episode, I don't know if you can tell, but the fender gap from front to back, or back to front I mean, it's different. It's about an inch different. And to tell you what happened is basically this is the stock spring, and the gentleman owned this car and lived on a farm, and he wanted clearance because he drove it on gravel roads in winter and snow, and he wanted more clearance in the front. He felt it was just too low in the front. I've never heard of anybody actually raising the ride height of these cars before in my time. Hey, what this reminds me of, and this gentleman is probably at the era that would have done something like this back in the day, but back in the very first, I don't know if I want to call them muscle cars, but classic cars like the Tri-5s, 55, 56, 57 Chevys, and that era, they had made gasser cars, and it was actually a type of racing that went on. It was, you were using gasoline engines basically and using gas as your fuel. But what they did is for rate distribution, to get to the back and stuff, they raised the front up. Just Google it. You'll see it. You've probably seen how weird they look too. In fact, they actually, I think they even pushed the engine back, etc. So basically someone tried to make a gasser out of an Eagle Talon, which now you know, step out of the way, kind of what it can look like. So when I measure right now, I get about, I look at the wheel gap here. I got 3 inches between the fenders, and here I've got 4 inches. So it's about an inch, and I think that's what he specified. What we're going to do today is we're going to change those springs out. This is a stock spring. He still had them. I don't even know if you can buy stock springs anymore. I've looked a little bit. It seems everything's on the lower kit, and he doesn't want it lowered at this point. We may do it later, but right now we're just going to put the stock springs in. And the shock looks actually fairly new, and we're just wanting basically a stock ride, so we should be good there. And then when I take the spring out, I'll show you the difference. And it also, on the perch that it sits in, on the shock absorber, for some reason they went with a smaller spring. I imagine they tried to size it as the best they can, but it actually goes, side to side when you're turning, which I think is even dangerous, but definitely don't like that feel or noise. But so it's too small for the perch, where this is going to bring it back to normal. So we're going to get on that today. And you know what? Why don't you subscribe as well? It doesn't cost anything to do that. And that way you're ready for any other future episodes, and you're all set. You don't have to worry about to the end of the episode to do it if you're new to the channel. And so let's get going, and we can get on and change this out. Okay, how to get these springs out? Well, first you got to take the whole shock assembly off, which basically take those bolts out, take this the brake hose support off, and these top guys. So just to show you how this doesn't sit properly in the perch, you can see that it's too narrow, and this flops back and forth a little bit like that, and it's not supposed to do that, obviously. It's supposed to sit pretty good in there and not flop around kind of against the walls. And it's not enough that it ever blast out, but you certainly can hear it when you're driving. So we're gonna get that sorted out. Now the dangerous part is compressing these springs so you can take them out. Basically, you gotta compress them so you can take this hat off, and then you put the other springs in. What I use is these spring compressors. It's there's a few methods you can do, but this is what I use. It's kind of got these safeties to latch on, but I still am a little squeamish when I do this because when these go, they can really go and they can kill you. And I don't like to die. I'll start by taking this off, and you'll see the nut under there that's got to be undone. But don't undo this nut, ever. So you got these compressed, or it'll go spraying, or more like lights out for you, possibly, because this could just come out and kill you. Hit you in the head and kill you. And you don't want that. I certainly don't. So as you can see, this gives me a false sense of security that if this explodes, it's going to save my life and my head. It's not going to, but I feel just safer having this on. Now this is the scariest part for me. Okay, it's definitely loose now. Alright, that's good news there. Okay, she's off. The head off. Now we'll uncompress them. Safety is on again. The danger is out. So a couple things to note. The one on the left is the previous spring that had the higher than stock ride height. You can see that it's higher. Also, let's look here. You can kind of compare. I don't know if you, how can we compare this because of difference here, but I guess I could measure it for you, but this is definitely thicker than this one. I don't know if you can tell or not on here, but this is definitely thicker. So it's got a, you know, it doesn't compress as much probably on under certain loads compared to the stock one. So now we can put the stock one back in and enjoy the ride. Now we just do the reverse on it. Put it in. Maybe I'll take you in here a little bit and show you something too while we're doing that. You can see a little indent there. So that's where the spring needs to go against, right there, right there. So then that's set up. So now you can put your top hat back on here. Just also show you, putting that on, how much these need to compress to fit that on. So basically, same thing we did before with the aftermarket heightened spring. We're going to put this guy on and compress the spring. So I don't think you need to watch that in detail, but we'll do some time lapse. thing just to point out, I'll show you on the actual thing here, but you want to line up these holes because these are a little oblong on here. So there's that hole, and then you can kind of see that hole up there, or yeah, if you can kind of see it there, right there. So you want to make sure that they're lined up. Basically, I'm just sticking a screwdriver through here. And yeah, so you can see how that's kind of lined up there. I'll show you here, and then when I go down to there, right, yeah. Anyway, it's hard to show on camera, but it's lined up, so that's good. We're all, and I got the nut in. So if it's spranged right now, we're gonna be okay. So yeah, let's decompress it now and let it latch on, and we'll torque that up as well. Okay, that one is done. Well, it's not on the car done, but the spring's in. The most dangerous part's done. You can remove these now. So to put it back in, it's pretty much the reverse. And there she be. Stock spring put in. Mission accomplished. And if you remember how much that gap was in here before, now there's no gap. It sits in the perch just fine. I forgot to show you that. Well, I should have put the springs next to each other, or back to face, I guess. And then you could have seen how the differences or measured them. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This fits properly, so it won't slot back and forth like it was before when you're turning. So it'll get rid of that noise, which is awesome. And I'm going to do the next one, and you don't need to see that because you've seen this one done. Here's a better close-up of how much that gap is in there. And I'm going to show you something else. Remember I showed you this? And that's how you, basically I used a screwdriver. And there's the hole right there. And if I look up, let's see, I'll try to get a perspective here. So the hole is right there, which is there. And if you go up, see way back there, the hole right in there? Yeah, so basically, there's the hole there, and there's the hole there to line up. So they didn't even care how they got this lined up on this one. I never even cared to look at the other one. The first one I did, but I should have, to see how bad it was. So this was even installed improperly, which I'm not surprised. People don't know what they're doing, and they shouldn't be touching this stuff. At least they didn't kill themselves trying to put this in. But anyway, we're going to do it right on this one, just as we did on that other one over there. I just thought I'd show you that since I noticed it. Just to repeat what I showed you, notice how good it fits in here now. And as far as the alignment goes, there's the hole. We'll put the screwdriver through. And if we look up, you can see how it's lined up right there. Yeah. We're in good shape. Notice the spring even shows something there. Anyway, I don't think that's the deal. So let's get this puppy back in. Yeah, she's all done. Now, I think I'm going to get to these brakes. So, all finished. The ride height should be now stock height when we get it down. I was going to show you a picture of that, and I will in a later episode, but the reason I'm not right now is while this is kind of the tire off and that, I got to mess around with these brakes. So, and I've done a little bit already, I'll admit that, and done some filming on that. So the next episode is going to be about the brakes. If you did watch the episodes previous to this, you've probably seen that I had some trouble when I was driving it, that the brakes were hot on the left front here and the rear right. Rear right was really bad, and you're going to see just what's going on with those. Definitely got some issues that I got to take care of, and I'll show you that. So make sure you subscribe and share as well for people who like that sort of thing, and make sure you don't miss it. Hit the bell as well. So until then, enjoy every day and always make it right.